Little special time. Get to go on a road with Zeb. Going up to cover some good wrestling this weekend, but we're gonna go back into the saga of Dirty Zeb and the magical day when the uniting of Zeb Miller and Martin Floriani took place. Why don't you tell us that story?
University Nationals, 2007. I saw this guy walking around talking into a camera, and I think it's like a lot what people see now whenever they see me talking to the camera. I think it's crazy. Who's he talking to? Well, talking to the people at home. But anyhow, so I see this guy walking around. He's kind of wiry, Italian-looking fellow. So as I'm walking out, the first year was at Akron, Ohio. He's got like bags slung every which direction on his body and like straps, and he's like got a phone. It was all beat up, and he like drops his phone and the battery pops out, and like he's clearly in distress, and which now I find is really not distress. That's just kind of how he is, right? Right?
No comment. But no, he's just like kind of frantic, and so I'm like, hey man, you all right? And he's like, yeah. The people that I'm rolling with took off. And I'm like, all right, well, where are you staying? He's like, oh, it's like a mile away. I'm like, okay. He's like, I can walk or something, or just if you could just help me find directions to get there. I'm like, well, where are you staying? He's like, Fairlawn, and it's like northwest Akron. And he's like, it's not North Akron, or, Fairlawn's like, it's a good 15-minute drive from the University of Akron. So, anyhow, I give this crazy dude who I don't know a ride. I don't know who he was. I don't know. And he's just like, I don't know if you've ever talked to him. He's a real forward thinker, and he's very aggressive and confident. He's like, yeah, this website. And he's talking about how great this website is and what he's going to do. And we're going to make it so, every college duel can be someday, broadcast. And, not just all the big schools are going to get duels. And I'm just like, this guy's nuts, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, man. I'm like listening to him. He's got like this rant he goes on. He's like, well, let me hook you up for giving me a ride. What can I do or whatever? And he's like, I said, well, you know what? At the time, I was helping Jim Andracy with the club at the Golden Pride Wrestling Club at Kent State. And I'm like, well, can you interview our coach Andracy at Kent State? I'm like, we just need it. We need something. It sounds like what you're doing is a good thing or whatever. He's like, yep, no problem. And actually, he interviewed Jim, and he did like a whole video on Kent State clawing their way back, is what it was called. And Jim was actually one of the first speakers on the site when he was going around interviewing, like, I think Jim Zaleski was Lenny Zaleski, John Azevedo, I think, was one of the first guys. And Tom Ryan, a lot of those guys in 2007 were the first guys on the site. And it was awesome. And then we kind of exchanged emails a couple times. Then the following year for the 2008 state tournament, I was actually helping out with the school I teach at Riverside. We had a couple guys making the state, so we went down there, and Martin called me, and he gave me a camera. Well, actually, I was able to borrow our club camera, and because the club bought it, the parents bought this camera, and I was able to film all the Riverside kids' matches. And then I did like all the Division II finals and a bunch of the semifinals, and it was cool. And that was kind of the beginning of how it started. It was just like being a good Samaritan to somebody that he looked like he was in duress, and I think he legitimately was. And now I know what it's like to get to a city and kind of be stranded, or be in a foreign country and weird things happen. Jim and I kind of got we definitely got that this summer. That was absolute insanity in Kazan, Russia this summer. There's no videos we could shoot to give it or do it justice. But you see someone in distress. My dad always used to help my dad was always into helping people. Like, I remember we were at a rest stop one time. My dad gave some guy, it was probably just like a guy was going to go buy, alcohol with it. I was like, oh, I need $20. My dad gave him $20. And my dad's always been about helping people. So I was like, if my dad can help people, it's just something that rubs off. You know what I mean? It's just whatever. And you made a comment today, like, we forgot your coat. And you were like, the people in Denmark kind of made an off-color remark to you about America. You left your bag on the bus or something. And they said to you, well, you're not American, no one's going to steal it. That's kind of the people I come from, the Midwest people who will always help people when we see people in distress or whatever. That's kind of what it came from. I mean, it's been interesting, you know, when you can meet someone like that and listen to them, think they're crazy, and then when you see genuinely how driven of a person he is. And like, you know, I'm sure I'm going to get another no comment from Joe, but there's times you want to strangle the guy.
No comment.
But man, like, he is always pushing forward, and it's like, look what it's done for wrestling. Look what it's done for wrestling. And it's like, and if there's things he don't agree with, he'll still let you cover it, or, you know, he doesn't care. He wants everything to be covered. He wants to do what's best for the sport. I'm glad that I helped someone like that out. So it was good.
All right, so how kind of you got going in wrestling. Let's talk about now type of coverage you do that's kind of revolutionized ways that all of our websites do coverages from time to time. Coined the term shotgun coverage. How did the shotgun coverage come to be? What is it? What's a shotgun coverage?
The shotgun coverage. Okay, I had this camera that I bought my first year when I was teaching at Riverside in 2005, and it was like a hybrid or whatever. You could snap photos with it, and then it had, you know, the little, I want to say they're 8mm, not 8mm, but little DV digital video tapes. So at that point, my best friend moved out to Portland, Oregon, and and he just had a camera, and I came home after I got another job, and the camera, just, I couldn't get it out of my hands, and I want to shoot, and I want to show people what's going on all the time, so I shoot a lot of video. And I know, like, it gets annoying to some people. Like, I think we went on the trip this summer, and all the kids that went on the East Coast trip with me, Princeton, Penn, Maryland, the Naval Academy, Virginia Tech, and UNC, those kids that were with me, 3 of them are seniors now, Brad Wookie, Harrison Hightower, and Drew Stone, and my nephew Ian Miller. I shot a lot of video, and I think that the kids, they genuinely enjoyed it. Now, when we went out west, Ian and I shot a lot of video. And I think there's interviews and wrestling's great, but like, to see what someone who's like outgoing in the wrestling community does every day, and like the things they'll do, like climbing Mount St. Helens, you know, I've done that the last 2 summers. That's something that's really cool, and that's cool, and it's a person in the wrestling community doing it. And yeah, I just want people to see what's going on. You know, I want people to see St. Basils and in Moscow and Lenin's Tomb, which you can't film inside of, nor did we get inside, but we will. But like, those are cool things, and I think that I think we're getting a lot of people that come to the site and might just look at the nonsense. Or at least we're going to start to.
Nonsense. I don't know what you're talking about.
But, you know, that's the shotgun coverage. Just shooting a lot of video. And it just stems from the coolest thing I've ever done with the video and the camera, the hard drive camera. In June 1st, 2008, I actually, you might not know this, but like, I went over and I talked to my grandfather, Ferd Miller. And I have a brother named Ferd Miller too, I got to sit down with my grandpa for like a couple hours, and I turned the camera on, and he was in a stage where he ended up having colon cancer and, you know, dying a year later, but we just sat and we ran the video, and I just asked him questions and had a conversation with him. And something like that, you really see how valuable video is. So now, everyone in my family, I made a DVD of it, and actually, he passed away right before you and I went to Kazan, to Russia. And I asked my dad, I was like, hey, do you want me to not go to Russia? I won't go, obviously, I don't want to miss Papa for his funeral. And he's like, no, you gotta go, man. He would have wanted you to go, and that's something that you gotta do that. That's a good thing, you gotta go. Because, my grandpa was one of the greatest guys I know. And I wanted to be there, but at that point we had already made all the arrangements, and and no one in my family judged me for it. That was cool, I thought. And we went over there, and I thought we did something that was good for our community. It was good for the world community of wrestling, and it was something that was bigger than me. And I thought that was pretty cool. But the shotgun coverage and shooting so much video, I think it's born out of the fact that I was sitting down with my grandpa that one day for it was an hour and a half of video, and learning about my family history, and my grandpa being one of 10 kids, 9 girls and him. That's something that's pretty cool to me, and I don't think you can really put a price on it. And I put together in a DVD, and they played it, and I've distributed, I couldn't even tell you how many copies of it I've made, but that's something that I didn't shoot enough video, and I don't regret it or whatever. I think it was the right thing, but the shotgun coverage is definitely now, I want to film everything. It's important, filming things and documenting things is pretty cool and important. I think you and I, in 40 or 50 years, we can look back on the video in Red Square and be like, something would be pretty cool, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
And if you look at all the videos we shot in Russia, once again, something we can look back and show kids and future generation to the family. And, I don't really think you can put a price on it. It's pretty invaluable. So that's the shotgun coverage, man.
Nice. All right. What's your favorite coverage you've done?
Well, besides the favorite coverage, besides going and sitting down with my grandpa that day, or I already told you, my grandpa thing is that was the best thing ever. It wasn't even a wrestling thing. That was the best thing ever. But man, that's a great question. I really enjoyed going to Russia with you. I like going out to the 2 road trips this summer. This summer was just crazy, man. I think the East Coast trip was really good with taking all those dudes, all those kids I've been coaching since they were in elementary and middle school, and now they're all high schoolers. That was special because actually 2 of the 4 kids committed to schools we visited. So that was special. I really enjoyed the East Coast, the Great American Road Trip. I'm gonna probably do it again this summer. And going out west, man, that's special out there. I mean, going out there, and they got the Left Coast Wrestling out there, and going out there, I think the West Coast needs us more. I think if you and I could move to the West Coast, I think we could really help wrestling over there, and that's what this is all about in the end, helping wrestling. So going out there, seeing all the sights, and seeing that those kids out there, whether it be the Oregon State kids or UC Davis or Stanford kids or whatever, they're doing the same things that these kids are here, just in a way cooler place. The West Coast is awesome. I mean, if my family weren't here, I'd already be gone. I would be out there. I would be in Corvallis or Portland, or Davis is a pretty cool town. San Francisco's a cool town. Stanford, San Luis Obispo. Those are all great places, and not that there's anything wrong with Edinburgh where we're going right now, but you can't go surfing. And we just got into Pennsylvania, so we're actually going to be getting off the exit here soon. But going all over and seeing those places, I think those are top notch, man. I don't think you can really put a value on the coverages.
All right, let's talk about so you did for a couple years. I mean, you teach all week, and then you'd go all weekend. I don't even know how you did it all, but and film wrestling and put all that on Flow Wrestling. Since then, now you have your own website with Jared
Offer, man.
And that's GoHioCast. What? Tell us about that website.
Well, Martin and I had kind of talked about it, and it was like, I didn't really need a website. I was like, well, you have a website, and I like it, but I don't know, man. I told you, there's days I don't go and look at our website. I'm not like, I'm not, oh, this is the rest area. But I'm not bent on being a website tycoon or something like that. I want wrestling to get better. And it's like, I wish I could do Go Oregon or something like that, because I think they need it more in Ohio. But GoHioCast, you know, GoHioCast is Greater Ohio. So I live on the, we're actually getting off here at 6N. I live, you and I have been driving about not even 40 minutes when we're in Pennsylvania. We've got about another, 15, 20 minutes here on 6N, and we'll be at Edinboro. But Greater Ohio area, Pennsylvania, let's just get that straight. It's the most undercovered state, number one. Number two, obviously, New Jersey. Because if you look, the wrestling there is amazing in those two states. The high school, the college, whatever you want to call it, it's undercovered. And there's no doubt about it. And there's no doubt about it, Ohio gets the most coverage. I mean, you know that, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that. If you go to the website, you're going to see, and it's because that's where I live and that's where my family is, and I'm not leaving. I would love to move to the West Coast or do something cool like that, but my family's here, and I like going to be able to see, my nephew wrestle, or go watch a Kent State duel. Those are things that are close to me, and those are things I can get to in an evening and be back home, and up and ready to go to school the next day. And that's something I put a high value on. Seeing my family, seeing my friends.
All right, so what does it take? I mean, I think personally, when I look around, people think what we do is super technical. What type of person would it take for the guy to step up in Pennsylvania, or in some of these states that you say are undercovered? What kind of person can do what you're doing right now?
Well, I'm literally they had to actually surgically shave my brow down because I'm Cro-Magnon. It's so easy a caveman can do it. It's not hard. I am not like a tech whiz. I actually had at school, one of my computers was like all on the fritz, my personal teacher computer, and I was like, I had to call in the tech people. Like if you're a technical person, you can fix that computer yourself. I'm not. These hard drive cameras, we got to get something going, man. Jared Opper, the other guy with GoHioCast, my homeboy, we're going to try and get something going with JVC, because we use JVCs, and they are warriors, man. Those cameras we have, those JVC Evrios, they're awesome. My brother Tate, him and his wife got them, and they can do flow wrestling coverages. They can do, Oregon Clay versus Oak Harbor. They can do, Toledo Central Catholic versus Oregon Clay, or whatever it may be, and that, I mean, if my brother Tate can't fix something with a hammer, he can't fix it, and he has the capability right now to do a flow wrestling coverage or a GoHioCast coverage, and it's not hard, man, and we do need that person, but like, it's easy, but it's not. Like you and I were talking about it today. It's easy, but it's not. You got to have somebody with personality and knows how to talk to people and knows wrestling.
So is that more important, you think, than being a wizard with a computer?
Well, I think that getting the content, it's great to hear me like say ridiculous things when we're filming or whatever. And I know wrestling real well. I mean, I wrestled for 5 years in college. I wrestled since I was a little kid. I know wrestling. That is important, knowing wrestling. The content's most important. A non-wrestling person can do what we want done, in my opinion. I think it gives it a lot of value. I think I add a lot of value because of the experience level. And I know what it's like to have someone foot carry, bow and arrow me. I know what it's like to, have a knee surgery, or, a hand fight with somebody hard for 7 minutes. I know what that's like.
So you can make the connections.
Yeah, but I think that's cool. And I think that gives it a lot of credibility with these guys. When I interview them, they realize I'm a wrestling guy and that I've been in the fight before. I've stuck my nose in there, not afraid to. I still roll every now and again. I like it. It's kind of getting away, but I think that somebody who loves the sport and's never wrestled could do it. But I think that's what I bring to the table. I think people like that you and I were wrestlers. We're Division I guys. And were we great? No, but I think it still gives you some credibility with people. But I think I think a person who loves the sport and can press record to start and stop a match can do this. I mean, I think it's that simple. But you gotta love wrestling. You gotta really love wrestling. If you don't love wrestling, it's not for you. If you love wrestling, I think that's the most important thing, loving wrestling and knowing it.
To do the coverages.
Yeah, oh yeah. Technical wizardry, it's bottom of the barrel on my priority list.
All right.
Is that good, or do you want to know more about?
The stash? Yeah. We've got some very extreme close-ups that I don't think you're aware of since this interview started. Stashies at Nashies.
Yeah, the mustache is obviously born out of the Stashies at Nashies, and it's like it works on Joel Greenlee. It works on it doesn't work on a whole lot of people, but in our generation, you and I, that 25 to 35 generation, the stash is not in. And the generation behind us, the stash is not in. And quite frankly, it's just it's a bad choice, I would say. But I think that last year I did it as like a social experiment when I first did it, and I got some ridiculous pictures from my buddy Scotty Burnett's birthday. And it's like, people are like, dude, the stash is great. And then when I walk in, there's students. I think the students are like, I have a senior, and the senior was like, do you really think it looks good? Are you serious? And I'm like, not at all. But, it's something that Stashies at Nashies, it goes back to like the Joel Greenlee told me you got to make things an event, and you got to make it special, you got to make it fun.Maybe it's a gimmick or whatever. But Stashies at Nashies, yeah, it's a gimmick, but it creates a little more excitement along with it. And I think I saw a couple of the Iowa guys had them last year. I think the Ohio University guys got on board because Coach Greenlee has the Fear of the Stash one, and he's got a big, hearty, Select stash. But like anything to make wrestling special, man. And if it's growing a ridiculous mustache and looking like a creeper, I guess that's what I'll do for the sport, But yeah, man, it's just the stash it's not a good choice, but I think that people buy into the Stashies at Nashies, and it creates a buzz. Jim Harshaw, create a riot. Start a riot, make it an event, right?
You got it.
All right, you got me.
All right, here's one more thing I want to talk about, and that's go-karts.
Oh my God. Dude, you don't even have enough hard drive space right now for me to sit and tell you about our experience in Kazan. What do you want me to start with? The train ride?
I just want go-karts.
Just want go-karts.
Starting at midnight, I believe, or
no,
so.
It was way later. Okay, so we're in Kazan. We go to this like bootleg carnival. Remember, like a Ferris wheel and everything? We go there and like...
And Tigran.
And Tigran. Oh, Tigran's the man.
Yeah.
He's got a heart the size of Edinburgh University, where we're going.
Mamiashvili.
But anyhow, Miguel Mamiashvili is the president of the Russian Wrestling Federation and like a gold medalist. But anyhow, and we interviewed him. It was kind of cool. I think Tigran was real stoked about that. Real stoked.
Right.
He loved that. But anyhow, Tigran, we go out. We're like, yeah, let's go out. First off, we're staying in somebody's house. You can't. I can't tell the go-kart story without telling that. So we go.
Fly with it.
We go and we cover wrestling all day. It was like July 5th. No, it was July 4th, as a matter of fact. When people ask you, is there a 4th of July in Russia? Yes, there is. They just don't care about America's independence. But we're on the train from Moscow to Kazan. Also, you don't just get on Expedia or Travelocity or Priceline.com and book a flight there. You get on a train and go on a train everywhere you're going to go. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the airports aren't like, it's not like here. But anyhow, we get on a train from Moscow to Kazan. We get off the train. Actually, Gudzalev, the gold medalist, was on our train.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, don't even think that their Olympic gold medalists travel in a, Gulf Stream or whatever it is. The G4 or whatever. But the dude's on he's a 2004 Olympic gold medalist. He's sleeping in the same little room we are. But anyhow, this dude, this like guy smoking a cigarette, belly hanging out, of course doesn't speak any English, because why would he? He's like, him and Tigran argue for what it looked like was arguing.
When they talk, they just throw down in fisticuffs.
Yeah, like remember the port people were trying to get money from him for vodka?
You're telling like 5 stories now.
Oh, I know, but like, how about that one? The old lady almost shoved him into the road and into the oncoming traffic. Anyhow, back to the train. So we get out. This Tigran and this guy argue, which is actually talking in Russia, and takes us to his house. Gets in there, tells his mom, this like really old lady. She like packs all her stuff up and leaves. And he gives us the key, and the guy leaves. So we stayed at these people's house. So 4th of July, it was the most unsettling thing, and it was the most uncomfortable half an hour of my life. Joe?
Yeah.
We just thought they were going to come back
scared.
and take. Yeah, we thought they were going to come back and take all our stuff, or murder us in the middle of the night. I don't want it to. They can have my stuff. Anyhow, 4th of July, we go out. We're like, oh yeah, we want to go out and do something. And we go to the carnival with the bootleg Ferris wheel. And it's just like a tent. We're in like a tent, almost like a wooden pavilion area. And all these kids are like boozing up. We go there and, we're hanging out, enjoying a couple drinks. And Tigran just sits down at this table and just starts gaming up on some ladies. Joe, his hands are tied, but I'm single at the time. So I'm like, all right, yeah. So we, try and game up on girls who don't speak any English, little to none. And that surprisingly worked pretty well. So these girls, we go out, we walk out when they're shutting the thing down, and like they're like, it's like 1, 2 in the morning. They're like, hey, do you want to go? I don't know, they said it in Russian, but to Tigran, they're like, we want to take you guys somewhere. And we're like, okay. And so we flag a person down. We don't get a cab, because that's not what you do in Russia. Put your 2 fingers out like this, and then he argues with somebody, and then they take you where you want to go.
And then that's where we heard that song, Russian Gales.
Yeah, Russian Gales. It was pretty cool. And those girls were like bouncing to it. And I'm all like, Joe's not single, I am. Too bad for him. And that was cool, because like they got into it, and we were, we had beats, We didn't have any glow sticks though. But so it is literally like a scene from Hostel. They drive us back into like this back alley, and there's no like street lights or anything in Kazan. And it was like short nights or whatever. Well, not white nights, but pretty short, 3-4 hours of darkness. So it's like 2, and they drive us back in this alley, and the Russian guy who's driving us, his car bottoms out on a speed bump. So he takes us back, and there's like 6 dudes standing around drinking like vodka and hanging out. And then like we get out, Tigran pays the dude, and we go into this big warehouse where 6 guys are standing outside in a narrow alleyway. Yeah, we walk through like this maze and like through this like long hallway, and then we come out into a bar and a gigantic go-karting arena. Mind you,